Joshua Moroles podcast.
All right, Robert. So we are back again, and there's obviously every single week I tell you the same thing. There's more and more and more and more and more coming. How do you feel about that?
Man, I'm super humbled by everything. It's super humbling because people have reached out, and a friend requested me. Some have asked you for my number that want to thank me for something I did 20 years ago. The gesture is so welcoming, but it's surreal. This is happening. I've been wanting this to happen for 20 years. I've been wanting to tell this story.
It's pretty cool because the other day they had asked on one of the Facebook comments, they wanted to reach out to you. And I said you were a little bit busy, so we kept pushing it off. The guy calls me. And he's repeating all of the stories that he's heard from us.
Wow!
And I was like, "Wow, this is awesome, man."
Yeah, man, and that's where the humbling feeling comes from because I've had people tell me, "Dude, you tell stories really well," and that's awesome. That's a good quality to have. So I appreciate it for those of you who agree with that.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's cool. I was there. It's not difficult to recall something like that. At least it's not for me. So thank you to everybody who has received it well and has taken a liking to Josh's productions and our collaborations. I think that it's working well and it's resonating, and the comments and the reaches and the views and everything is what's a testament to it.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people understand that I am a certified digital marketer, so I know how to get this in front of the right people, but it also takes a very special story for people to resonate with it.
Correct.
I just can't push out content and ads and then all right, hope for the best.
Yeah.
No, people are gravitating towards this with the advertising, so
the shares are crazy.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. It's remarkable.
So with that being said, this coming Sunday, we're actually going to do a live Q&A with Robert, and we want to invite you all. We're going to be live. We're going to be putting up your comments. So start thinking about the comments, because even when my mom was listening, she has well, do you still go to the beach? Do you go over there? Do you still get scared? So,
I've got a lot of those questions.
So talk about that. I mean, we're going to be live.
Well, write down your questions, everybody. Get your questions ready. I think we're going to be live for about 45 minutes or so. Chime in, ask what you want. We're an open book in regards to that night. And I say, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting to hear questions. Or if you have your own story about that evening, share it with us. Maybe you were a set of eyes on the pier, or at Pirates Landing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And we can even do call-ins too. So that would be really
great.
cool.
Yeah, that'd be super great.
So that's the other thing that's great about this platform and YouTube is that we can have this live premieres and these live Q&As that literally we're now just competing with everybody else's attention. But I think since this story is so special, it requires that.
Yeah, it mandates it. It's kind of
Where else have you had contact to somebody that has such a story like yours, and then boom, you're right there. You can ask them a question.
No, it's rare. And it's like I was telling you earlier. I've been able to share this story with people one-on-one the way you and I did before we decided to put it, up on the podcast. I know what it does to people. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. Every time I've told this story for the last 20 years, I've seen it really resonate well with the individual I'm sharing it with, or with the group of people at the table, that evening, or for whatever reason we were talking about it and it got to that. I know how impactful it is when people hear how people lost their lives, and how people were saved, and what the outcome of all of that was. So I've been eager to share it with the masses forever.
For a long time.
For a long time, because, well, it's our bridge that broke. And I think that's kind of something that people are starting to realize. It's community property. It belongs to you. It belongs to me. It belongs to all of us. It's our bridge.
Yeah.
We refer to her or it as the Queen Isabella Causeway as hand of God. I don't know why it's named that. That's my bridge.
Yeah.
That's my wife's bridge. That's my children's bridge. And it'll be my children's bridge. That's why we listen.
Yeah.
Because it's something that we own.
And you know what's interesting about that is that every week it gets deeper and deeper. And I have to give another shout out to Celeste. Like she is, I'm telling you, she's like a ninja at finding documents. She has like an excitement. Like, hey, did you check out
It's
this?
almost
Did you see this?
challenging
Yeah,
for her. She wants to.
she loves it.
Thank you,
and
Celeste.
she was telling me is like this goes deeper than in a lot more stuff. And she told me that this has to do the gravity of this situation even has to go into the state of Texas and to Cameron County.
Wow.
That's how deep this is. So she thinks that's why the 20-year gag order is around.
Was placed.
Yeah, and obviously we don't want to touch any of that stuff. We just want to tell the story.
We just want to tell the story. It's neither here nor there at this point.
Yeah.
And everything happens for a reason in the way it happens. I'm a true believer in that. So hopefully this will bring closure for individuals who needed it, such as myself and maybe the survivors and those who lost loved ones. It's not meant to reopen old wounds,
absolutely.
or to cause any pain. It's just meant to be shared so that people can appreciate a little bit with a little bit more intensity the bridge that carries them over to South Padre Island back home, and so you know what happened to it, and so that you can understand that things change in a fraction of a second, so appreciate every second you have that's a positive one.
Absolutely, and that brings up a good point because I had a conversation with a reporter this morning from Port Isabel, and he was asking, have we reached out to any of the survivors? And we have reached out to a couple of them. I know Bridget Gosa still lives at Padre Island or Port Isabel, and we're trying to. I think I friended her husband on Facebook. It's not our malintention to bring up the past or to.
It's really not.
Yeah, it's really not.
It's difficult because, again, we're not trying to pick at a scab that might barely just be healing for Bridget. We don't know this. So we're hoping that this wave of positivity and that we're creating, and we'll see it here in a bit on some of the comments that Josh is going to go over. Hopefully that positivity will be something that the survivors, Bridget and Renee and Gustavo, want to gravitate towards, and be a part of this story because it's their story.
It really is, man, and that's the cool thing is like this is Rio Grande Valley.
That's right.
This is us. This is our history.
This is our history.
And I have a question for you, Robert. We've been talking to a lot of people that aren't from Texas or were from Texas and that have left. Mm-hmm. Do you think you need to leave the Rio Grande Valley to make it, per se?
I think that's that's a difficult question.
Let me tell you the reasoning why, because I have a lot of content creator friends, a lot of friends that are artistic, a lot of people that do podcasts, a lot of people that create stuff, and they always have the mentality is like the Rio Grande Valley sucks and you'll never do anything here and everybody's gonna stab your back and all this stuff.
Wow, no, I disagree with that, and my back has been stabbed. But the geography of where the backstabbing took place has nothing to do with the decision the individual made to do whatever he or she did. Is the valley synonymous with stuff like that? Yeah, it is, but that doesn't give you the opportunity or steal the opportunity from you from being a better individual or doing business in a good, positive way, with good intentions. So to answer your question, fuck no, man. You could be every bit successful here in the valley that you can anywhere else. Yeah. I mean, Elon Musk came
here
to the valley. He's here. The geography has little to do with it. People who want to be in the entertainment industry go to Hollywood, and I get it. Country artists, music people gravitate towards Nashville because of the history. I get it. I see industries pulling people to different places, but this thing right here, man, these things and the cameras, they have shrunk the world tremendously. And I don't understand any of it. I'm almost Facebook illiterate. But I see what it does. I see the 180 some thousand people we've reached in just a few weeks, you know, and counting. You can be every bit as successful here now through technology. You could be a YouTuber in, you know, your mom's basement.
Yeah.
It's no. The answer is you. No, I disagree with that comment.
Well, it's good to hear. It's refreshing because I've always loved my RGV, and of course, don't get me wrong. I there's parts that I hate,
Sure,
but
yeah.
overall, I love the people. I love our culture is when times get hard, we just help. That's
that's it.
what we do. But getting to the comments, this is what I really wanted to jump in today's podcast is there's a ton of comments and everything's positive. How does that make you feel?
Dude, I'm shocked, man. I mean, it's welcomed, but I don't know how to respond to such positivity. We're not used to hearing compliments every day, you know. It's funny how foreign a compliment can make you feel. You know, it's coming from a good spot. It's coming from a humble place and with sincerity, and for whatever reason, and it's testament to how we're brought up, I guess. We can't receive it comfortably. You know,
Yeah.
you get that, oh man, like I don't even know what to say kind of feeling. And I've been experiencing that a lot because the comments are super humbling.
Yeah, there's just so many that come in, and it is kind of hard to keep track. But let's talk about Pastor Hyde.
Yeah, let's.
We're working on an edited version of the first podcast. It's going to be an audio experience that's going to be out soon. And when you talk about Pastor Hyde, I don't know, for some reason I feel it.
It's because when you or we as individuals meet somebody who holds an ordained position like a priest or a pastor or, you know, sermon, whatever the religion may be, if they are the head of that church, they wear it well, and we are taught to respect it immediately. For whatever reason, with Pastor Hyde, that dissolved. You saw the person, you know, you knew he was a man of faith. You knew he had his assembly church. You know, you knew all of these things, but you didn't see that. He came at you as just a genuinely good, concerned individual. Like, the religion was secondary. What he was preaching was secondary to his humanity. You know what I mean? Like his way of treating you. There was never a condescending moment. There was never a judgmental moment. There was never a complex of an authoritative figure. He was there for you, and he emitted that out. So every time you were in his proximity, man, you felt like you were with somebody that you went to elementary with and were friends, you know, for a long time and stuff. Regardless of the age gap, you know, we were lucky enough to go back and he held a Sunday, kind of like a little event right after he gave his sermon, and everybody you can see that everybody felt the same way towards him. So Pastor Hyde was a godsend, and it wasn't because of his religion. It was because of who he is.
Yeah.
You know, that's why he was there for us. Just so happens to be that he was a man of that faith.
That's amazing to hear. I think it's a very refreshing thing to hear that there's those people out there that emit that, because everybody wants to feel that.
Everybody, man, we want to feel welcomed.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to try to make you feel welcome. There wasn't a fake moment around him. He was super just relaxed, you know, shoulders dropped, like, you relax, I'm relaxed, we're let's talk.
Yeah.
I got to spend a little bit of time with him in his office. If my memory serves me right, you'd walk into his church, and to the left, I think the auditorium and the hall where all of the chairs was. And then I think to the right, and then another right immediately after that, or down the hall, I forget, he had a very wooden-based office. Like, I think there was a lot of wooden shelves, and I'm picturing a bunch of books and his desk was to the far north, like towards the road, Highway 100. And we sat there, man, and talked, and he was, when a curse word slipped out, he didn't skip a beat. He didn't bat a frown, or, like, come on, we're in the house of God. He was never preachy. I guess that's the best way to put it. And so because of that, I felt it easy to share. I felt it easy to talk to the guy.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear,
I'm
man.
indebted to him for the comfort he offered.
So just so everybody knows, we are looking through all the comments. We are reading them, and we encourage your all's comments. Like, keep commenting, keep sharing this with friends, because I think this is a story. Yeah, this is a story that needs to be shared, and not even if it's just locally, if it's throughout the state of Texas. I think even my parents' winter Texan friends and my winter Texan friends, they're seeing it because they've been to the island so many times. Yeah. So, like you said before, this island, everybody has gone to at one point.
At one point or another, whether it was spring break or Semana Santa or just made your way over there to go help save the turtles, man. Like, I don't know, that everybody has at least heard of South Padre Island. The amazing stories about how incredibly crazy and wild it gets in spring break, to how the community pulled together to save itself when there was no bridge.
Yeah.
So everybody knows about South Padre Island. And again, it was catastrophic what happened, man. There's no smaller word for it. It was catastrophic. The Twin Towers was a terrorist attack on our way of life, man, on how comfortable we feel, and on the buildings. They happened, so everybody was focused on that. This bridge collapsing would have made national news, and I think it did, actually. I think people in Los Angeles and New York got glimpses of what was going down here.
Yeah, because we've seen articles from, like, Chicago Tribune.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So it was national news, and it did get the attention it deserved and needed at the time. It was appropriate. But now we get a chance to give it the story, give the story the justice and the attention it lacked back then because of what had happened.
Yeah, and I think you said that perfectly, because the reporter did reach out to us, and he said every year they have a ceremony, they talk about certain things that happened, and then that's it.
And then that's it. It's perpetuating. Every time they do that, I feel like it's a slap in the face to the truth. It's a story half told, I promise you, I believe in my heart that this year is probably going to be the biggest turnout, the 20-year anniversary for the Queen Isabella Causeway. I think this year is going to be a turnout. I think people are going to come and really acknowledge what happened that night. And I think that a lot of that is going to be due to this podcast that we're offering, to the truth that is now known about it. You can understand and appreciate the horror and the devastation that night. Maybe it merits, a visit to the beach to go check out that monument and understand that nobody should have to live through that kind of fear or that kind of, torture of waiting for help, trapped in a car, or the torture of living with watching something like that happen for the rest of your life. So maybe South Padre Island will start being known, instead of for, the partying, and, all of the wonderful things about it. And maybe people can start kind of remembering a little bit about the tragedy that happened, and appreciate life when they're there just a little bit more, because they did get over the bridge safely.
And that's the crazy part too, is because a bunch of people have commented, like, when they go over that, before they didn't know the story, and now they go over and they're like, wow. That's the only bridge.
That bridge gives me the wow factor every time. because I've seen it at its weakest, man, at its most fragile, right? I saw how quick it dissolved. Like, it was crazy. So, no, yeah, I feel it, guys. When you guys go over the bridge now and you think, holy crap, this thing fell, and kind of try to look down the side of it and see how high it is, it's an intense thought.
Yeah.
To be traveling 50 some miles an hour and flying off of that.
Yep.
So yeah, no, it messes with me too. That's just the mind playing tricks.
So this coming week, we do have a couple of guests. We have JP Montoya, which was the EMS that helped save Gaspar Hinojosa.
That's right.
So we're going to meet with him soon, get his story, which is going to be interesting within itself because he remembers a lot of different stuff that you all didn't or don't talk about. He sees it from a different perspective, which is what I love about this podcast because you all get to have that conversation for the first time.
Yeah, it's reuniting people who were there who maybe had misconceptions or didn't have the view that I had. Again, anything that happened on the south side of the bridge, I was a bit oblivious to because we were on the north side. So yeah, no, I'm eager to pick his brain and kind of see what he recalls.
And then also we have Captain Darryl, who was on the water that night, and Captain Steve, who was on the water that night too. He should be coming back from Puerto Vallarta tomorrow, so I need to get in contact with him. So those are going to be interesting stories because
I think they will be.
They were on the water.
Yeah,
they got their ships commandeered.
Wow, I'm telling you, that night it was crazy. You couldn't tell an official boat from one that wasn't because you had, men who had their boats commandeered by cops.
Yeah.
And so you'd have some dude in shorts piloting the boat, and then you'd have a whole trooper outfit or some other different type of outfit uniform, commanding him where to go and do this and do that. So yeah, no, I can imagine that having been traumatic for them too, because at that point you're on the top of the water and you know that there's lives underneath you.
And another interesting point in this too, with having these captains on, is they know how to drive their vessels.
Yeah.
So they're going to have an insight on how the barge, the captain of the barge was driving it. So, which is interesting in itself because David Fowler was driving the barge that night that hit the pillar. And those statements that we saw,
The court
documents. They're pretty intense.
No, yeah. Maybe we ought to try reading them.
Yeah.
I mean, the Q&As from the attorney to Mr. Fowler, and there's specific questions like, what did you do that night? What was the current light? What were the conditions of the boat? I think maybe we should go in there and kind of revisit those.
Yeah, absolutely.
They merit some attention as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, gosh, that's basically the testimony of the pilot of the barge, man. Like, that's to be able to hopefully get some of his emotions or thoughts through the statements that he has in the court documents about that night should prove interesting.
And what's interesting about that too is Captain Steve said when he was passing by the barge, he saw the police or whoever the entity was, the federal entities, have him down on, like they brought him down. Wow. So he physically saw him, and he yelled at him, like, "What are you guys doing? Like, these guys have to man the ship."
Holy shit.
So
they did to them what they did to us.
Yeah.
They basically took everybody. It's because you got to remember, man, like 3 days after 9/11, everybody was scared. I thought we were being attacked. I mean, that was just that was my first. What else could take out that bridge? What could take out the Twin Towers? Well, not really much. Well, what could take out the bridge? Well, they're taking in the air up there these two huge buildings out with planes. Well, what are you going to take out a bridge with? Well, with the big barge. Yeah. And what did they do over there? They flew planes into the buildings. What did they do here? They drove a barge into our bridge. I thought we were being attacked. That's just real talk.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what the cops were thinking, what the federal entities were thinking. They had to have been thinking the same thing. So it doesn't, having experience the way they treated us and manhandled us all the way to the police department, I can imagine the fear or the intensity that the agent was feeling when they jumped onto that barge, not knowing what they were going to encounter. Man, it could have been a barge full of troops, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I can see how they were trying to secure their safety before they started the investigation. I'll bet you that Captain Steve is going to sit here and say, man, but they delayed moving the boat, because if they took those guys or started interrogating them, well, then who was piloting the boat, the tugboat? So, yeah, I can see how mistakes must have been made because they were fear-driven mistakes. Wow. Yeah, I can't wait to speak with him and see what he saw.
And also, we're still trying to get a hold of those 911 tapes. I know they're out there.
Yeah.
They're somewhere because they had to be presented in court, right? Even if it's a transcript.
I would assume so. They have to be embarrassed over that. I mean, that's...
And like we said, our intention is not ill-advised or ill.
But I think it has something to do with why it's delayed so much. I mean, we literally got the court documents before we got the 911.
What's interesting about that too is remember the document that we got from the Coast Guard that was mapped out, it had the whole map. So we want to put these on those screens back here so y'all can see them as well, and we'll also put them up on the podcast eventually when we talk about it. So
you have a better idea of where we were and where everything was positioned and stuff.
They mapped out everything.
Yeah,
it was pretty.
Very accurate.
Yeah, it was pretty accurate. So, but that's all we have for today. Robert, anything else you want to chime in on?
Keep tuning in, everybody. There's way more to come, and get your questions ready for Sunday.
Yep, 8 p.m. Sunday. We're gonna go live. Ask your questions. We'll put them up. We have third-party software that we can put your actual comments up on the screen, so everybody will be able to see. Reach out to us on our social medias, or actually on the comments of this one. And if you want us to call you, send us your number somehow, and we'll bring you on.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all later.
You'll be safe.